special episode of Virtual Sanctuary. We've got Lauren, my friend Lauren over here. Of course, I'm Cameron behind the screen. And Kathy Stevens, our founder, who's joining us today for a very special conversation because it's a very special day. Well, tomorrow is but it's very close to a very special day.
And it's very windy on this special day, so pardon the any background noise. But as I was just saying to Kathy, I don't think it's going to be a problem for her to talk
loudly.
I'll do my best.
All right.
To outwind the wind.
There you go.
And then, of course, in the background, we're joined by our sheep friends.
Yeah, Mr. Davey over here.
Hi, Davey.
Over here.
Hi, Scout. Scout's in the back. Talia is right behind you, Kathy.
Oh, and maybe we can get them a
Yes, she
snack.
is. Yes, she is.
Yeah, maybe we can get them a snack in a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
They
this
have a
is
snack. They're
different.
gonna
I do have a snack. This earth that's about to be, this metaphorical earth.
Oh, someone on Instagram said, I love the wind noise. Great.
All right, so I am glad to whoever that was.
So tomorrow, everybody, is, I believe, it's either the 52nd or 53rd, it's a 52nd celebration of Earth Day. It was begun in 1970 as sort of a wide-ranging initiative to address a whole host of environmental problems. 50 years later, we are in exponentially worse shape than we were back then, and that, of course, is in large part because of animal agriculture. Sometime back in the 70s, I believe, the United Nations formed a group, maybe it was 80s, formed a group called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC. And every 5 years, the IPCC brings together, they're comprised of hundreds of scientists from hundreds of countries that pour through literally tens of thousands of scientific studies in order to come up with their report. And last year, their latest report, which was their sixth one, issued a code red for life on Earth. And I don't know any stronger language than code red, and I don't know how to say it any more urgently than thousands of scientists. Like that literally a simple goal you can understand. It has worksheets to accompany it. It is called the Earth as a not snagging apple start.
Maybe snacking soon.
Maybe snacking soon. The Earth as an apple. So
He's
in
mostly just itchy right now.
this activity, you take an apple, which represents the Earth, and you cut it into quarters because of the Earth, 3/4 of it is water. This goes away for this activity. This goes away.
Okay.
So all we're left with, in a world in which the human population is expected to be 10 billion by 2050, that's not very many years from now. I plan on still being here, and most of you are younger than I am. You've got this much land on which this much of the Earth on which all of us have to live, and all the food grown to feed all of us have to live. Only there's a problem. So not only the Earth isn't getting bigger, it's not physically growing. Not only is there no other planet, Elon Musk hopes there is, but right now there's no other place to support human life and all that sustains us and the animals. So you take this 25% that is now supporting 7-point-some billion, but has to soon support 8, then 9, then 10, unless we humans stop reproducing, and you take away half of it, because half of it is uninhabitable, too icy.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt super quick? Because
Please.
Talia is scratching her neck on the bench over here, and it's very cute. I don't know if can we see her?
Yeah,
in
you
the
can see her.
She's just like,
You can fully see her.
End of the world. Who cares? I got an itch. I got an itch.
Kathy, haven't you noticed
Way
that
more
these
important.
benches have enough hair stuck to them?
Yeah, they're great scratching. I've probably. So this part is uninhabitable, and you take another part because it is desert, and you take another part because it is too mountainous, and then you take another part because it's already occupied by houses, roads, bridges, commerce, commercial buildings. And so what you're left with of this globe that these animals can now enjoy, Lauren. Right on cue.
Davy.
Can I sneak that knife for a second though?
Yes.
Make some smaller pieces.
Yes. What you're left with is 1/32nd,
Maybe.
and even that's going to be gone. 1/32nd of the Earth's surface that has to support all human life, all the animals and the plants. But then
He
you,
only wants that one because
but
it's
then you
bigger.
peel it away again. This is awfully difficult to do a demonstration. You are like the class clown. You're like my trying to teach with Mike.
And his
Oh my
bum
God.
is taking up the whole camera.
Oh, you don't want the apple? He doesn't want the apple after all.
All right. Well, somebody.
He was just trying to be a nuisance.
Okay. Back to my lesson. People and sheep.
Kathy, I have a question.
People and sheeple. Wait. So we're left with 1/32nd, but we don't even have 1/32nd because all we have on that 1/32nd of this entire planet that must support all life, that's all that exists to support us, is the topsoil. And here's the point. Animal agriculture, on average, uses 15 to 20 times the amount of natural resources as plant-based agriculture. So we're growing the plants to feed the animals, to turn they are the unnecessary middle part of this step, to then in turn feed us. And so when you've only got this much, a 6-year-old can understand that we are going to run out of resources. We are going to run out of land on which to grow our food. We're going to run out of water. The water wars are predicted to start. And so we're on this collision course, and all 4 of us are here first and foremost because of the animals. 20 years ago, our messaging was all about them. And it's not that we love them less, and it's not that we're devoted to them less. But what we now know is that unless we radically change our behavior, scientists have been saying, the IPCC report from 5 years ago gave us maybe 10 years before it was cataclysmic changes. Governments, am I talking too much? Do you want to ask me something?
Well, I was actually thinking of a question to ask.
Okay.
So when you're saying that about the animal agriculture, that doesn't matter if it's like organic or whatever other label might be put onto it, right? It's all the same
It's all-
if it involves animals.
It's all the same if it involves animals. I mean,
And for like, honestly, some of the methods that people will say are more quote unquote humane to the animals are then worse to the environment.
yeah, absolutely.
Because then if it's like, oh, well, we'll give the animals so much more space, well, that's just more land that is then used by this farm.
to
right?
turn the animal into much less food than if you took that land and planted crops to feed humans.
Sorry if there's a background noise. Sam is trying to run the tractor. Get it?
Unsuccessfully trying to
Minor
start the tractor.
technical issues over there.
So that's one of the challenges we face, and what's interesting and horrifying is the extent to which we are seeing climate change right here, and upstate New York faces nothing compared to what we face around the globe.
No, we're one of the locations where it's like, if you try to think, because this is the calculation that people are having to make now. Where do I want to live that my home isn't going to be flooded by a hurricane, or isn't going to be burned to the ground? And honestly, we're sitting pretty good up here.
The Northeast is one of the safest places, and yet we barely recognize this place. We have probably lost half of our trees. We lost 22 trees in a single microburst last year. The hill, for those of you who've been here, the hill that you drive down to get to the parking lot, the main driveway, used to be lush pasture. It is now very rapidly becoming a rock bed. And that's because, for two reasons. One, because of the rain, these weird torrential rains that are dumping, and where you get inches of rain in an hour or a couple hours.
Yeah, where did I just put that? I was just looking up before we came out here the rainfall from last year, because you remember last year it just rained.
It rained.
And it was, we had, in some of the months we had like twice as much rain as normal. We had a full on like 10 inches over what's like normal, the average for our area. And even just the other day, we had like 3 inches of rain overnight.
Yeah,
something like that just the other day.
It was crazy. And so the rain, it's the wind and the rain. Both of these are hard on the trees. And when you lose your trees and lose their root system, the reason that hill is turning into rock, it used to be grass, is because there are no trees to stop the slow erosion dramatically. And when you rip out 2/3 of the trees that used to be on that hill, water just pours down it and takes the soil away. And so that's like the one piece of this. Like that's the damage piece. That's the poor use of our finite resources that is a part of our choice to eat animals. We haven't even talked about how animal agriculture is affecting global warming. So should we go there?
Yeah, and I mean the weather weirdness does have to do with that, right? Sometimes people even refer to global warming as like global weirding, because all the weather is just being like really different than it has been in the past. Because like, of course, there's always like some years you do get more rain, and like in April it rains. So like yes, of course it rained the other day because it's April and it rains in April. But to have like 3 inches of rain in not that much time, and to have that happen more regularly, it's kind of the trend of like everything's just getting like odd.
And of course the scientists have been saying for so many years that the trend is going to escalate, and now we're. Hello, Sam. Hello, Danny, Danielle. Danielle.
I can hear you.
So. Okay, what is wrong? What is the relationship between...
Also, I'm thinking real quick, since we have no other animals around, do we maybe want to pop in the pig house that's right behind us?
Oh, yeah.
And then we can have some friends, and then maybe
feed some apples?
I know they will eat some apples.
Let's think. Will they?
What do they think?
What are the odds?
What are the odds that
eat
pigs
apples?
will eat apples?
They probably will. I'm thinking they will.
Oh, lots of love for Sam and Danny in the
I think the
comments.
pigs are all asleep. Them a little nudge.
All right, don't let me forget Danny's very expensive knife.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe Luca will want to hang on to that knife. Thanks, Luca.
Oh yeah, they left. I didn't see them.
Yeah, there's the sheep. All the way down there.
It's snack time, boys and girls. Hi, babies. Hi, babies. Hi, babies.
Oh, Scott's got a big one. Hi, babe.
Hi, everyone.
We were asleep cozy.
Uh-oh. Be nice, don't fight.
Girl. That's Ginger and Amelia, of course, behind Kathy there.
And Amelia just might theoretically, not saying she is, be the reason this sign is up here. Just might be. Not telling tales out of school.
Please do not touch me. I might bite. Thank you.
That's why we don't hand feed Amelia. Nothing against Amelia. We love her, but she doesn't have the best manners all the time. So that's why we just toss food to Amelia. We don't hand feed Amelia. Hi, Regina. Did Lucy get some? There's a couple people.
She did.
She did get some.
Okay, maybe Lucy needs a couple. Oh, Lucy's getting a couple more. Yay, my old lady. Here, sweetie. Regina. Here you go. Here, Lucy. Yummy. Ah, you tell her, Lucy. Lucy's like, these are my apples.
Give me my share.
Oh, see, Ginger is very polite.
Very
Ginger, you hand her
polite.
food and she has good manners about
Very
you.
Very good
polite.
manners.
Yes.
They all have good manners.
Most of the time. Scott, buddy, what?
All done, Bubba. All done. That's all done. That's all
All
done.
the apples. You got all the apples.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's all we got, Mom. That's all we got. That's all we got. That's all. So where were we? Relationship between animal agriculture
got a green bean,
and
too.
climate change,
That's right.
Leftover from
Global
breakfast.
warming.
global warming. So, in case you don't know, I got a text the other day saying from a woman who said she didn't really understand what global warming was. So, I'm not a scientist. You could probably explain this better. But the sun shines. The sun sends its rays into our atmosphere. Some of it spreads. That's why we have a climate that's so comfortable, because of our distance from the sun. But when certain gases are released, the reason this is called the greenhouse effect is because they trap the warmth and reflect it back to the earth. And that reflection causes global warming. The reflection of the sun's warmth back to us. And there are gases that are talked about as labeled greenhouse gases, and they are primarily carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide. Now, the one that gets all the attention is CO2. Now, my hypothesis is the reason it's the one that gets all the attention is because the other ones come largely from animal agriculture, and it's an uncomfortable truth. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it.
Viewers who were with us, what was that, Cameron? Was that 2 weeks ago? We were hanging out with Tucker, and he just kept farting away over there.
Oh, yeah.
So we did just like 2 weeks ago talk a little bit about methane and cow farts and all that. And to note about the greenhouse gases, like they're good, but if you have too much, it's bad. If we had no kind of like carbon dioxide or whatever in the atmosphere, or like not a lot of atmosphere at all, we'd be like the planet Mars, which is like not a good place to live right now. And if you have too much, you turn into like the planet Venus, which is just like, what's it, like 900 degrees or something on the surface of Venus, when there's a lot of carbon dioxide and stuff in that atmosphere. So we do need some of it to make life on Earth habitable. It's when the numbers get way out of whack, and when they increase so dramatically, because yeah, the atmosphere has been different at various times in the past as far as what's been like the gases and whatever in it, right? But things are changing so quickly that nothing has time to adapt.
And because you
also,
cannot,
Amelia is
you
scratching her
cannot-
bum.
You got itches. Oh,
Squeaky buns.
I got itches.
Hey, Scott, I know I'm not even petting Scott behind me. Hi, baby.
Good girl.
Good Scott.
Good. Good. Oh, you're nice.
Oh, see, we're being good.
Well, what's interesting, like, how many land animals do we grow to feed humans? Something like 70 billion
In what
a
geographical
year.
region?
In a year.
Just in the U.S.
Per year.
Just in the U.S. Yes. If you wanted that to go global, I actually don't even know, but it's a lot.
No, it's something like it's something like 9 billion in the U.S., right? 8 or 9 billion chickens, and then a billion all told of others.
Yeah.
And then
Yes. I got it.
Right? And then I believe it's 65 or 70 billion land animals. So call it 10 times the number of human population. So you get these gassy, farty animals.
And it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. They're just built that way.
Their burps, their farts, their manure, the fertilizer that's used create methane and create nitrous oxide. Methane is 25 times more potent than CO2, and nitrous oxide is 300 times more potent than CO2. So, from an environmental perspective only, you realize it gets hard to call yourself an environmentalist if you're eating animals, right? Leading cause of water pollution, leading cause of, look at these kids. You are having fun.
They're just getting cozy again. Be like, we had a nice snack, and now we're going back to nap time. You have to arrange our beds the right way. Nice and cozy. They do love to cuddle up together.
Someone
They do
also
love to
mentioned.
cuddle, and their beds are so important.
Someone also
Yes.
mentioned in the comments that's not even including ocean destruction.
Oh, for sure. That's a whole nother
We
thing.
could do a whole other video.
Yes,
That's a
whole
maybe
other-
we'll schedule that one. That's
Well,
a whole other thing.
and factory fishing, like the barbaric ways that we fish, and I think people still picture Grandpa on the end of the pier, not cities on the ocean dropping miles-long nets.
Well, because people also picture Old MacDonald's farm.
They picture Old
and
MacDonald's
not
farm.
these big industrial scales. And that's not like necessarily anyone's fault. You only know what you learn.
Right.
But then when you have opportunities to learn about, hey, what's really going on? Like, what kind of situation do pigs really come out of, for the most part?
Yeah. Which is why we have to sort of undo the marketing while Lauren and all this team, here are 3 of our humane educators here, are so good at presenting this information in a very non-judgmental way, because all of us ate meat, I think. Did you eat meat?
Luca's hiding in the background, by the way. Hi, Luca!
Yeah.
I think
Right.
next week maybe we'll have Luca's more official on camera.
Introduction on
We
camera. yeah.
promise someone's there.
So. Yeah.
No, Luca did get a cameo.
Hey, I'm talking to my special friend.
It's not even 1:30 yet, Kathy.
Luca got a cameo when they took the knife from Kathy earlier.
Oh, funny. So we, all of us understand that going vegan is a process. This is Earth Day. It's a time to focus on all the environmental reasons for doing it. And if you label yourself an environmentalist and you are working at that by not using single-use plastics or by driving a hybrid, then I would also urge you that the greatest thing you can do, the scientists have been saying this for a long time, the way to have the very biggest impact is to take these guys who want their lives as much as we want ours off your plates. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
It's a good one too.
And also, because by the way, this is one of the big things too, and we were saying last week, or 2 weeks ago with me and Cameron and Tucker, methane, one of the things about methane is it is so much more like warming potential than the carbon dioxide, but it also like gets comes out of the atmosphere so much faster than carbon dioxide does. So if that's the thing that we can kind of pull down that number the fastest out of any of the greenhouse gases, and that is, the methane is majorly from the cows and the other like ruminants, with the chewing their cud and that whole digestive process, that they're very gassy, the burps and the farts thing.
This is what I would like to learn more about related to what you're saying. There's a wonderful book, if you don't know it, called Drawdown. A group of scientists got together and studied why the Earth was on fire and ranked all the contributors to global warming from what they felt was the most impactful which was number 1, to the least, which was number 100. And animal agriculture was number 4. Refrigeration was number 1.
Yeah.
But this is what I want to know, and I think we, organizationally, I'm just saying this out loud to all of us, would be well served to know this, and maybe you do, maybe you guys do, I don't know this. When they looked at refrigeration, what were they counting? Because think about the quantity of refrigeration. Compare how much refrigeration is needed to take an animal, chop that animal into parts that are consumable, refrigerate those parts. First of all,
or freeze maybe also.
Refrigerate those parts, freeze those parts at the slaughterhouse
and the
pickup.
whole way.
They have to be transported in refrigerated trucks. They have to be refrigerated at the grocery store, and they have to be refrigerated in your home. Compare the refrigeration required for meat versus carrots, versus lettuce.
Yeah, which a lot of that does still need to be refrigerated, but not in the same kind of way of like, you need to keep this refrigerated or it's going to grow E. coli and you'll get really sick.
Right.
Or something like that, right? So
Right.
That would be interesting. I wonder how that played out in their calculation.
And they calculated that as refrigeration instead of as animal agriculture.
Yeah, I honestly
Instead
do
of
know
as
that.
animal agriculture.
I got a copy of that at home. I'll have to check it out. But one thing about refrigeration, like if that is something that applies to like all of us at our individual scales, is like, I don't know, how often do you get a new refrigerator? How often do you eat food?
In my life, too.
Okay, how often do you eat food?
Many times a day.
Yeah. So, if you look at it in many times a day, I can have an impact on what's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And maybe look into that refrigerator thing too.
Yeah. Well, another thing, like I am one person.
How
I
much
share
of
my
other
life
things do we have time for?
sometimes. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
Oh, we gotta
No
go.
more
We got a
other thing.
meeting.
Yeah, we gotta
Beautiful
go to
Earth
other
Day. And have a beautiful plant-based dinner tomorrow night and every night.
Quickly, Lauren, plug your plug.
Plugs. So yes, if you do want some ideas of plant-based recipes for Earth Day, we do have that we put on our website. We can get the link in the comments wherever those are for you. If you also get our newsletter, we sent out a newsletter with that information on it today, maybe just like an hour or so ago. And if you're not on our newsletter, like, come on, get with the program. You can sign up at our website. I'm just gonna scooch over here so now there's piggies. Piggies. Oh, they're snoozing. Yes, so if you would like to know more about the whole animal agriculture and climate and all that situation, Kathy on her podcast this week has like an Earth Day special that's all about that. So that would be called Heard Around the Barn. Check that out. And we are nominated for so many Chronogrammy Awards, I had to write them all down so I wouldn't forget. So, the Chronogrammys are one of our like local, it's like a regional magazine here, and they have their annual awards called the Chronogrammys. And so we are nominated for, and you can vote for us for Best Animal Advocacy Organizations, Best Regional Podcast, which would be Kathy's podcast, Heard Around the Barn, that I just mentioned. Best Bed and Breakfast, which would be our homestead, run by the wonderful Michelle. Best Kids Attraction, which we've won like 3 years in a row. So, and Best Animal Activist, which would be Kathy, who just left. And Kathy also wrote an open letter about the animal agriculture and climate situation, which is on our website, as well as in that newsletter that I just also mentioned. I think that's plugs. What do you think, Amelia?
She thinks she has a full tummy full of apples.
No, that was
And
only a
it's
little bit
time.
apple. I think we would have liked it more if it was more apple.
But it's
Maybe
time for
we have
nap.
to shush and yesterday I gave a tour and a little 2-year-old kid thought I was being too loud in here while the pigs are sleeping,
Aw.
so she shushed me. So thank you for the reminder, Lucy the human. Came on a tour yesterday. And yes, you can always also come and visit us opening weekend for public tours. It's going to be real soon, May 7th and 8th. And you can also schedule tours during the week and all that all on the website. The sheep are back. We gotta go.
Aww.
Oh, little farewell shot from the sheep.
Say bye, everyone.
Bye, sheep.
See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, all. Thank you so much and happy Earth Day.